Welcome back with more good news. This week I made some poor life choices, so hit that subscribe button. There were some pretty big change logs, and the AMX-50 Surblindé came out, and I got to play it for a little bit. First off, with this thick change log, there's about 3 sections of stuff happening. First off, just general changes to Navy, typically pointing towards the Japanese tree, but essentially their destroyer and cruiser shells got buffed. The Kuma got some new type of shells. The Agano lost its base fuse shell, but had its sap shell fixed, whatever that means. I'm hoping it's a buff. The Type 93 long lance torpedoes got more deadly. I believe now they have more explosive filler. The Ya-5M can now reload its rockets. However, the Project 1124 MLRS still cannot reload its rockets, even though the boat has been in the game longer than the Ya-5M, and just like the Ya-5M, its additional rockets are modeled in the X-ray view. I am still wondering how long it's going to take Gaijin to actually fix that, if they ever do. But also on the Russian boats, the Project 1204 got a stabilizer for its cannon. The next section of this changelog is what I called naval damage model changes. First up in the big one, it didn't say which ones, but it said many destroyers now have 23 millimeters of armor on their hull, making it so some of the smaller and less explosive caliber shells can no longer penetrate them. Several ship modules will no longer stop large caliber shells as easily. However, some modules will actually take less damage from shrapnel, and if your boat happens to be coal powered, your fuel tanks will actually be able to absorb a good amount of kinetic energy because they're full of rocks. The final part of this changelog I've labeled tank changes, and just general ground forces changes, and they're pretty broad. Although the big one that everyone is flipping out about is that the British 2-pounder cannons now have received a new AP round and an APHE round. Although, in comparison to the APCBC round, they have less penetration and seem to throw off less shrapnel. So generally, your strategies with low-tier British vehicles most likely won't change. The Merkava now has neutral steering, however lost a bit of horsepower. But the A33 Excelsior gained 28 horsepower. The Panzer II-H now has a very bizarre name that I can't pronounce, and I'm gonna continue calling it the Panzer II-H. The Automatic now has 2 spawns in Sim, so you can ruin everyone's day twice. Actually, I have no idea how well it does in Sim. And a bunch of tanks got new Site Magnifications, including the Mouse getting a ×10 sight, which is outstanding. Oh, and M2HB AP rounds seem to have had their velocities changed. I'm not sure what the original were, so I can't say if it's a nerf or a buff, but it's very nice to see the velocities of the AP rounds so you can compare them to other aircraft builds. Like, for example, the Japanese 30s, which, by the way, they all are faster. They have higher velocity. So that damn guy on Air Realistic Battles saying I was wrong. No, the Japanese 30s are terrible, have low velocity. They have the same velocity or better. Or better, I tell you. The Ho 155s are 100 meters per second faster than the damn 50 cals. And the Type 5s have around the same velocity as 50 cals. I'm completely off topic. That's not all the changes that have been happening to the game, as my Discord mod CT Center has happened to be snooping around a bit and found quite a few changes in the files. First off, the ones I can understand easily, bombs now have 5 millimeters of structural seal, which is essentially 2.5 millimeters of rolled homogeneous, which probably comes along with them gaining a hitbox. The thickness of wheels on armored cars was changed from 2 millimeters to 10 millimeters, and the Excelsior! I love that tank's name. It's a shame I don't have it. Had some neat buffs to its turret, back, and sides, however a slight nerf to its front, going from 55 millimeters to 50.8. The ME-264 had its elevator greatly improved, and gear now brakes at 209 instead of 298, which is going to make landing that thing much harder. Now, for a few things I didn't understand, and I did not bother to go ask him about this because he actually posted this like a week ago. Armor of the 19K has been changed from 1 millimeter to 5 millimeters. I think that's the Russian flak truck thing, which is the 29K, I don't know. The condition damage on the PGA-2 has been changed from 400 to 300. I have literally no idea what that means. I think maybe it dies slower, maybe? AT guns now die if you flip them over. Who's been flipping over AT guns? And apparently they're working on something called clan medals. Oh, and the T-28E Stalin train got a boost to its engine, having horsepower now 550 and RPMs now 1445. All some very interesting changes. I really wish I had the Excelsior, because not only is it a pretty cool looking tank, but it sounds like it got a whole lot more beefy. Now, I haven't been playing much naval, so I can't really say if those changes have made much of a difference, but they sound pretty good. But that's not all the things that happened. If you happen to be participating and excelling in World War mode, you would have happened to get a AMX-50 Surblindé, or as I like to call it, the Surblindé. Do I get like demonetized for swearing in other languages? But anyways, I actually didn't participate in World War mode because I didn't very much enjoy it. However, I talked to Gaijin and they did let me test drive the Surblindé. Standing at 8.0 and being a French heavy tank, this has to be the worst super rare vehicle out there. Really, it's just another AMX-50 Surblindé. And I haven't played the Surblindé, but I assume they suffer from the same issues. Its main appeal is its very fast-firing 300mm penetrating AP shell. If this was 6.7, 7.0, 7.3, or 7.7, that would be amazing. But this is 8.0, where everyone has 300mm of penetration, whether it be through APFSDS, APDS, or heat. So really your only major bonus is the auto letter, but that 6-second reload isn't that much of a stretch from the what seems to be standardized 8.7 reload of all the other NATO nations. Really, 2.7 seconds isn't enough time to save your bacon. So what you end up with is a very tall, large, obvious object to shoot at that you can't cover with bushes. Your shells deflect a lot off of the higher tier tanks in 8.0, and despite all the lovely angles on the vehicle, you don't really have any armor, especially when you meet all that APFSDS and heat. The only reasons I could see anyone caring for the tank is if Gaijin decided to lower it to 7.7, maybe even 7.3, or alternatively increase the overall battle rating and give these super heavies some room to breathe. The question of what's going to pop up at Gamescom has been one going on very much after the launch of this patch, as it is the next thing, and it seems that it seems that War Thunder is at an impasse on whether to advance much further into the future or try to stick to its guns. And something I did not think of last time around I asked about what is to be at Gamescom was Enlisted, the World War II first-person shooter that Gaijin has been working on. It happens to use the same engine as War Thunder, the Donger 5 or whatever it's called. So many features in that we may expect to see in War Thunder. From looking into all the information out there about Enlisted, what I can gather about it of things that we could maybe possibly see in War Thunder are, number one, the big one, ray tracing.
What are you guys using RTX for?
Global illumination.
Is going to be working for the game from the start to use as global illumination. Personally, I'd love to see some ray tracing in War Thunder, even though I don't have the card to run it. The lighting effects from ray tracing are just amazing. The second possible thing that we may see from Enlisted run into War Thunder is apparently the way they want Enlisted to work is that you would command a squad of AI infantry.
Which means we have much more soldiers than we do have players. Like it can be 50 versus 50, 100 versus 100 soldiers, while you still play 10 versus 10 players, because each player is commanding his squad, AI-controlled soldiers.
And so there would be very large battles of, let's say, 100 versus 100 or so. But there would actually be a very much smaller amount of actual player-controlled infantry. And if you're going to want that much stuff being run on AI, you're going to want your AI to be not trash, like we have in War Thunder right now. So it could be possible that with the launch of Enlisted, we may see perhaps improvement to War Thunder's AI, which would make the assault modes much better. But they could also lead to some interesting gameplay mechanics, maybe not having infantry on the ground, but maybe aircraft carriers, where you command AI-controlled aircraft. But for something more down to earth on what we can expect in the future of War Thunder is once again, this time on the Instagram page, the concept of War Thunder on Switch was brought up. This consisted of someone asking for War Thunder to be on the console, and the War Thunder Instagram account replying with, "We are testing various technical solutions to porting War Thunder's engine to this console. No idea how that will work or when it will happen. It'd be interesting to see War Thunder with motion controls." A final bit of news, it seems Gaijin's having another competition, but this one's actually pretty easy. You don't need to even like a Facebook page. All you need to do is create a short guide, either via text or video, on how to do something in game. Some of their suggested topics are even as simple as how to set up a avatar picture or how to activate an item from your inventory. They're probably doing this so they can easily thicken the pages on the War Thunder wiki. And the prizes for this competition are pretty neat. For the top 10 best written guides are the in-game title, educator, and premium count for 1 month. A bit on the cheap side, but they're not even asking you to write an essay, it's just a paragraph on how to do something really simple. The 10 best short video creators will get the in-game title Educator, premium count for 3 months, and their choice of any premium vehicle up to rank 5, excluding special event ones and ones added 1.89. So that means no AMX-50 Surblindé. Why would you want it anyways? Now that's just about all the War Thunder news. If you have any comments or concerns, you can hit me up down below. New to this outro is that I have been able to set up the YouTube membership program for this channel. Essentially, it's kind of like a mix of Patreon and subscribing on Twitch. It costs $4.99 a month. During live streams, you have emojis that you can use, and the longer you are a member, your badge will change over time. Currently, it's set up as multiple different types of Tigors, but like Patreon, members get certain bonuses. Currently, the only ones I have written out are that you'll get a unique role on my Discord and a private channel in which you could discuss things with me and other members. You get to see thumbnails to my YouTube videos hours before the video goes live. Not that I'd be delaying the videos, just thumbnails typically made a few hours before the video goes live. And I'd put your name at the end of each War Thunder Weekly News video. So if you're interested, there should be a join button right next to the subscribe button. I will tell you all about it. And of course, if you have any comments about that, you can hit up down below or on my Discord. If you've liked this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. I make War Thunder Weekly News videos every Sunday. I make random videos throughout the week. I like to stream on Saturdays. However, currently YouTube has withheld me from doing that, so I'll be doing them on Twitch until I'm able to do them on YouTube again. So be sure to follow me there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And as today's bonus news, Tiger 4.7, Gaijin make it happen, Germany suffer.